So, the newest sneak peek for Hazbin Hotel Season 2 just dropped. And let me tell you, this one completely changes what we thought we knew about Alastor and Lucifer's dynamic. Right off the bat, the tone of this new teaser feels completely different from the previous ones. It's got this eerie tension to it, almost like the calm before a storm. Alastor's always been confident, charismatic, and totally in control. But here, there's something off. You can sense a bit of unease. Not fear exactly, but irritation, maybe even pride being challenged. The moment Lucifer enters the frame, the entire energy shifts. The camera lingers just a little longer on Alastor's reaction, and you can tell he doesn't like sharing the spotlight. This sets up one of the biggest themes we'll probably see play out in Season 2. What happens when two powerful, charming, manipulative characters are forced to coexist in the same space? Lucifer, on the other hand, feels more unpredictable this time. In Season 1, he came across as playful and harmless, the kind of character who'd rather joke than fight. But now, there's a subtle difference. His humor feels sharper, almost like he's testing people. Every line he says seems to carry double meaning. It's classic Lucifer, but there's a new confidence there, a quiet authority that makes you remember this is the king of hell we're talking about. And when he crosses paths with Alastor, the contrast is fascinating. One thrives on control through charm and radio theatrics, the other through divine chaos and lighthearted deception. Watching them interact is like seeing two magicians trying to outsmart each other without ever admitting they're playing the same game. The teaser cleverly shows just enough to make fans start theorizing again. There's a quick shot that almost feels symbolic. Alastor surrounded by static, while Lucifer's glow flickers in and out behind him. It's a blink and you'll miss it detail, but it could represent their powers clashing or overlapping. Alastor's influence has always been tied to sound and transmission, the radio demon who can control the airwaves, while Lucifer's power is far more celestial and reality-bending. The fact that their auras visually interfere with one another might hint at something deeper. Maybe Lucifer's presence literally disrupts Alastor's power. Or maybe it's a metaphor for the tension we're about to see explode between them. What really makes this teaser stand out, though, is how the tone walks that perfect line between comedy and dread. There's humor, for sure. Lucifer still acts like the over-the-top dad who doesn't know how intimidating he is. And Alastor still keeps that unnerving politeness that makes you second-guess his every word. But underneath the smiles, you can tell there's something brewing. One moment, they're trading witty remarks. The next, you're left wondering if either of them would hesitate to destroy the other. And that's what makes it so exciting. Hazbin Hotel has always thrived on balancing chaos and charm, and this sneak peek feels like the show is leaning even more into that contrast. It's also interesting how the setting plays into all of this. The new background art feels slightly more regal, almost sterile in comparison to the warm tones of the hotel we saw before. It's as if Lucifer's arrival has changed the atmosphere, both literally and symbolically. The hotel was always Charlie's dream, a place of redemption, hope, and healing. But now, with her father and Alastor both influencing things, it feels like that dream is being rewritten. Maybe that's part of the story. Charlie trying to keep the peace while two of the most powerful beings in hell quietly test each other's limits. The teaser gives us tiny glimpses of Alastor's expression that are easy to miss, but say a lot. His grin looks tighter, his tone a bit more deliberate, and even the way his eyes shift feels different, like he's calculating rather than performing. It's subtle, but fans who know his character can immediately tell something's up. Maybe he's losing control of the hotel's balance, or maybe Lucifer's presence is reminding him that even he has limits. Either way, this feels like the start of an internal war for dominance, not through violence, but through clever manipulation and influence. And if that's where Season 2 is heading, we're in for some of the most intense storytelling the series has ever done.
This first half of the teaser alone tells us so much about where the narrative might go. It's not just about fun character moments anymore. It's about legacy, pride, and control. Lucifer represents the old order, the divine hierarchy that once ruled hell, while Alastor represents chaos and independence, someone who built his own empire from the ground up. The two of them together under Charlie's roof is a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. Every smile, every joke, every sarcastic remark between them feels like it's masking something deeper. You can practically feel the tension crackling through every frame. And honestly, that's what makes Hazbin Hotel so special. It's not afraid to give its characters layers. Even though this is just a teaser, it already hints that Lucifer's charm might not be as harmless as it looks, and that Alastor's confidence might finally meet its match. The two of them don't need to fight physically for things to get explosive. All it takes is a few words, a few power plays, and suddenly the entire hotel feels unstable. This is exactly the kind of storytelling fans have been waiting for. Dramatic, funny, and just the right amount of unsettling. The next part of the teaser dives even deeper into the Alastor and Lucifer tension, and this is where things really start to get interesting. We see more of their contrasting personalities play out, and honestly, it's almost theatrical how different they are, yet how perfectly they mirror each other. Lucifer moves with this effortless confidence, like every room he enters is his stage, while Alastor's movements are sharper, more precise, like he's performing for an invisible audience. What's fascinating here is that, for the first time, Alastor doesn't look like the one in control. You can almost sense that Lucifer's presence alone throws him off his rhythm, which is a rare thing to see for someone who's usually 5 steps ahead of everyone else. It's subtle, but it's there. A flicker of frustration behind the smile, a pause in his speech that feels a little too long. And then there's Lucifer, who seems to know exactly what he's doing. Every little quip or smirk feels intentional, almost like he's testing how far he can push Alastor before the radio demon cracks. It's that perfect kind of psychological tension that Hazbin Hotel does so well, where everything looks cheerful and comedic on the surface, but underneath it all, there's a power struggle happening that no one's talking about directly. You can tell Lucifer isn't trying to intimidate Alastor. Instead, he's having fun with him, like a cat toying with another predator. And that's what makes it even more unsettling. Lucifer's brand of chaos isn't loud. It's quiet, clever, and controlled. Now, what's really intriguing about this sneak peek is how it redefines both characters' motives. For Alastor, the hotel has always been a playground, a place where he could experiment, manipulate, and stay entertained while pretending to help Charlie's cause. But now, with Lucifer living under the same roof, that playground doesn't feel like his anymore. Lucifer, being the literal king of hell, brings an entirely new hierarchy to the space. It's not just Alastor's fun project now, it's a reflection of Lucifer's legacy, and that's something Alastor definitely doesn't want to be overshadowed by. You can sense this hidden resentment brewing beneath his usual cheerfulness, and it makes every interaction between them feel like a ticking clock. One of the most subtle but clever choices in the teaser is how it plays with sound and lighting, especially during moments when both of them are on screen. Whenever Alastor speaks, the background sound seems to hum slightly, like faint static, almost as if the air itself reacts to him. But when Lucifer appears, that static fades into this soft, celestial echo. It's a small detail, but it perfectly highlights how their powers contrast: technology and chaos versus divinity and light. The overlap between the two feels intentional, almost like the show is hinting that neither can truly exist without disrupting the other. And if that's foreshadowing what's coming next, it could mean their eventual confrontation won't just be emotional, it'll be cosmic. Another thing worth noting is how Charlie fits into all this. Even though she doesn't take center stage in this teaser, her presence still influences everything happening between them. Lucifer clearly adores her. That's obvious from his soft expressions and how protective he becomes when she's nearby. But there's also this quiet tension when Alastor interacts with her in Lucifer's presence. It's like he's suddenly aware that he's being watched, judged, maybe even measured by her father. For a character like Alastor, who thrives on being unpredictable, that kind of scrutiny is dangerous. It forces him to play nice, at least for now, but you can tell it's eating at him. The way his smile twitches whenever Lucifer speaks says everything. He's being polite, but there's irritation hiding right under the surface. Fans have already started theorizing that this dynamic could lead to one of the biggest turning points of the season: Alastor possibly leaving the hotel for a while or plotting his own separate agenda. And honestly, that makes sense. Alastor's the kind of character who doesn't like sharing power, especially not with someone who outranks him. If Lucifer's presence threatens his control, it wouldn't be surprising if he tries to reclaim his influence elsewhere. On the flip side, Lucifer might not even see Alastor as a threat at all, which makes it worse. Imagine being one of the most feared beings in hell, only for the king himself to treat you like a quirky side character. That alone could push Alastor into doing something drastic just to prove his worth again. But what really keeps the tension alive is how charming both of them remain while all this is happening. It's not an open rivalry. It's a quiet one, fought with smiles and sarcasm instead of violence. You can feel that at any moment, one wrong word could make the whole situation spiral out of control, and that's what makes it so compelling. Hazbin Hotel has always thrived on the idea of redemption and second chances, but this time, it feels like the story is asking a much darker question. What happens when two people who can't be redeemed start competing for control of the same dream? There's also a quick moment where Lucifer's expression softens, and you can see a flash of something almost human in him, maybe guilt or nostalgia. It's fleeting, but it makes you wonder if his return to the hotel isn't just about helping Charlie, but about facing something he's been avoiding for a long time. Meanwhile, Alastor seems to pick up on it instantly. The smile doesn't fade, but his eyes narrow ever so slightly, like he's just found a weakness to exploit later. It's moments like that which make the writing so sharp, both of them pretending to be carefree while secretly sizing each other up. By the end of this part of the teaser, you're left with more questions than answers, which is exactly what makes it so effective. Why does Lucifer seem so amused by Alastor? What is Alastor planning behind that smile? And most importantly, how will Charlie handle it when the two most dangerous men in her life start turning her dream hotel into their personal battlefield? The tension is only just beginning, and it feels like everything we thought we knew about these characters is about to be flipped upside down. Now, as the teaser goes on, things start to shift in a way that feels a little unsettling. Not in a jump scare kind of way, but in that slow, creeping tension that Hazbin Hotel does so perfectly. The lighting becomes dimmer, the music drops to this low hum, and suddenly you realize the dynamic between Lucifer and Alastor isn't just playful anymore. There's a power imbalance forming, and both of them know it. What's brilliant is that neither one says it out loud. They both keep up the smiles, the witty banter, the false politeness, but every line feels like a hidden jab, every grin like a warning. It's that kind of layered writing that makes you want to rewatch the clip over and over again just to catch all the subtext. Lucifer seems to be enjoying the tension a little too much. There's this subtle amusement in how he interacts with everyone, especially Alastor. It's almost as if he's been bored for centuries and finally found someone worth toying with. You can see it in the way he responds. Calm, charming, never taking anything seriously, yet always one step ahead. Alastor, meanwhile, is starting to show small cracks in his usual composure. Nothing obvious, but you can tell his patience is wearing thin. He's always had this air of superiority, this belief that he's untouchable, but Lucifer's presence challenges that. And the more Lucifer teases him, the more you can feel Alastor's facade slipping. Just a little. One of the most fascinating moments in this teaser is when Lucifer mentions something that makes Alastor freeze for a split second. It's quick, but it's there, that moment of silence that says more than any dialogue could. It might be a reference to Alastor's past, or something about his power that Lucifer understands better than anyone else. Whatever it is, it clearly hits a nerve. Lucifer's smirk after that line practically confirms it was intentional. He's testing Alastor, poking at him to see where he breaks, and it's working. The genius part is that it doesn't turn into an argument or a fight. Instead, the scene just lingers in that tension, leaving you wondering what's going on in Alastor's head. And that's where the real mystery begins. Because if there's one thing we know about Alastor, it's that he never reacts impulsively. Every move he makes is calculated. So if Lucifer's getting under his skin, you can bet Alastor's already planning how to return the favor. He's not the kind of demon to lose control, but he is the kind to bide his time and strike back when it matters most. That's what makes this whole dynamic so unpredictable. You're never sure who's actually winning. Lucifer might look like he's in control, but with Alastor, appearances can be deceiving. The radio demon doesn't show his cards until he's ready to play them. Another interesting detail is how the other characters respond whenever these two are in the same space. There's this noticeable shift in energy. Husk looks uneasy, Angel Dust acts quieter than usual, and even Nifty seems a little distracted. It's like everyone can feel the tension, but no one dares to mention it. The hotel, which used to feel chaotic in a fun, cartoonish way, now feels heavy, like the air itself has changed. This could be a huge clue about the tone of Season 2. Darker, more psychological, but still full of that witty humor that makes it all bearable. What makes this sneak peek so effective is how it doesn't give away too much. It teases conflict without spelling it out, which keeps fans guessing. For example, Lucifer's tone shifts slightly when Charlie's name comes up. He sounds proud, but there's a trace of worry too. Maybe he's starting to realize that his involvement could end up causing more harm than good. And Alastor, who's always viewed the hotel as his personal playground, now has to deal with someone who actually threatens his influence, not through fear, but through presence alone. It's a power struggle disguised as a polite conversation, and it's brilliant. Another possible layer here is the idea of control versus chaos. Lucifer, despite being the king of hell, represents order, the old way of doing things, structure, hierarchy. Alastor, on the other hand, thrives on unpredictability and mischief. He hates systems, hates authority, and loves bending the rules. So when these two forces collide, it's not just about ego. It's about philosophy. Lucifer wants balance and control. Alastor wants freedom and fun. Both of them think they're right, and neither will back down. This could be the foundation of the entire season's emotional core, a war of ideals hidden beneath smiles and sarcasm. There's also this clever use of color and sound that mirrors that theme perfectly. Lucifer's surroundings are bright, gold, and soft, like heavenly remnants in the middle of hell, while Alastor's world is deep red, harsh, and full of static. When they share a frame, those colors clash and merge, creating this uneasy mix of red and yellow that almost looks like fire. It's subtle, but it visually reinforces that these two are not meant to coexist peacefully. They bring out the worst and best in each other. But what's really gripping is how personal it's starting to feel. It's not just a clash of power or pride, it's emotional. You can sense that both of them see something of themselves in the other. Lucifer recognizes Alastor's ambition and charm because it mirrors his own past arrogance. Alastor sees in Lucifer the kind of authority he could never attain but secretly envies. That mutual recognition makes their interactions so captivating. It's admiration mixed with resentment, curiosity, tangled with fear. It's the kind of relationship that could either evolve into mutual respect or explode into full-blown hostility by the season's end. By this point in the teaser, you're left with that lingering sense that something big is coming. Not just another fight scene, but something emotional. Something that will shake the foundation of the hotel itself. It's clear the writers are setting up Lucifer and Alastor not as simple rivals, but as reflections of each other's deepest insecurities. And if that's the direction Season 2 is taking, it's going to be intense, unpredictable, and absolutely worth the wait. As the teaser moves forward, everything starts to feel heavier, like the air in the hotel is growing thicker with every interaction between Lucifer and Alastor. It's subtle, but the tension that was once hidden behind jokes is now right at the surface. The smiles are still there, the charm hasn't gone anywhere, but something about the way they look at each other tells a different story now. You can feel it, that sense that the room could erupt at any moment, not in chaos or violence, but in something far worse. The truth. And Hazbin Hotel has always loved those moments where the mask slips, just for a second, and we see the real faces underneath. Lucifer's charm, which once felt like playful mischief, now carries weight. His jokes sound sharper, and the laughter that follows feels almost forced. There's a glint in his eyes that wasn't there before, a look that says he's tired of being underestimated. Fans have always seen Lucifer as this larger-than-life figure who hides his true nature behind humor, but here, you can sense that he's about to remind everyone exactly who he is. When he speaks, the entire room quiets, And even Alastor seems to hesitate. It's like we're finally seeing the King of Hell step into his power, not with violence, but with words alone. And that's what makes it terrifying. The realization that Lucifer doesn't have to raise his voice to make everyone around him listen. Alastor, though, is not someone who bows easily. He might smile through it all, but the tension in his posture gives everything away. It's that classic radio silence moment, the kind that makes your skin crawl because you know something is brewing behind that grin. You can tell he's calculating, studying every word Lucifer says, waiting for his chance to turn the situation back in his favor. He thrives in moments like these, the ones where everyone underestimates just how dangerous he really is. And yet, this time feels different. For once, he's not the one pulling the strings. Lucifer is. That loss of control, even for a moment, is something Alastor clearly can't stand. The most fascinating thing about this new dynamic is that it doesn't feel one-sided. Lucifer and Alastor aren't enemies. Not exactly. They're rivals bound by curiosity. They're both trying to figure each other out, testing limits, pushing buttons, but never crossing the line. It's like watching two storms collide, neither one willing to fade, both trying to dominate the sky. And in between all of that stands Charlie, the heart of the story, trying to keep everything from falling apart. The teaser shows her trying to mediate, her optimism still shining through. But even she looks uneasy when the two of them share the same space. You can tell she feels the shift too, like the dream she built, her hotel of redemption, is slowly turning into a battlefield for forces far beyond her control. The dialogue between Lucifer and Alastor here is masterfully written. Every word feels deliberate, every pause meaningful. Lucifer's tone dips from lighthearted to serious in an instant, leaving everyone around him unsure how to react. Alastor, in contrast, hides behind politeness, masking his irritation with clever remarks. But every time Lucifer speaks, you can almost hear the static in Alastor's tone grow louder, like his composure is being tested more and more. It's this delicate back and forth, a verbal chess match where both know the other is dangerous, but neither wants to make the first obvious move. And that's what makes it so exciting to watch, the uncertainty. You never quite know if they're about to laugh or tear each other apart.